All right. Awesome. Wow, this is so exciting. This is my very first podcast of Spiraling Up with Tara, and I couldn't be any happier than having my most favorite person alive on this planet than my dad, Tori. And so, thank you for being my very first guest in my very new podcast studio that's very strategically placed at home. So, my kind of commute. I would like to kick off the story by just welcoming you, and I've invited him to share with me his spiral up story, and I'd like to just have that conversation. Thanks for joining me at the table, Dad.
I got to say that it isn't necessarily my style of reading, um, but I read the majority of it, and someday I'll actually finish.
Oh, that'd be me. I'm so
And
proud
I
that you
got
started.
more than halfway through, and I understand what's happening in the book, and of all these, it's most remarkable in that this. I understand the characters as being elements of future future self or things improvement and so forth. But the fact that these people that you've introduced are actually real people and have even acknowledged themselves in the book, saying, "Ah, sure, that's okay," um, and and you're still learning life's lessons from them and applying them in a very picturesque, poetic way. Your poetic license is never going to expire.
Stop. That's really cool. In case we didn't mention, what he's talking about is my new book,
Oh,
Spiraling Up, Volume 1, A Fantastical Journey Within. That's just so cool. It's so, I'm really proud of myself that I actually did it. I had a vision to do it. And then it's just me personally, Dad. It thrills me just to know that you've looked at it and gotten any kind of, connection with me and even with yourself and just the story. And it just makes me really happy.
yeah,
Thank you for saying that.
it's fun. I hope a lot of people appreciate it, get it into it. But it's a different type of story,
It is.
and so should be a dynamic success and make a million.
It should be. It should be. And with your help, it could be. And it is my story, right? It's the story of my process and awareness through grief after the tragic loss of my husband and then my mother. It's now been 7 years, but I found that path through the most amazing, like fantastical way. And it started by just saying yes to the things that felt good and no to the things that didn't. And those yeses introduced me to all kinds of new people and new places. And so I kind of like to joke that, there's talking fish and dragons and, multicolored bubbles that I get to ride around in. And then there's things I made up. so, so it is pretty close to my actual experiences and the poetry and all of that. So it's what's really cool to hear you say that. And what about you? What's your spiral up story? What's going on in your life?
So, well, I'm spiraling up into a rebirth.
Mm.
Yeah, really. An old guy who's worked for a very long time, basically one long job of being a health provider, a dentist, caretaker for the Temple of Nine Gates. Now I'm retiring and totally from that and from a job I've had for 10 years working for in tech business and retail. And I'm going to retire. And my wife is also retired. So it's now time to
Spend time, spend life, spend money,
yeah.
spend on yourself. What's the first big spend?
Skiing in Italy this winter, January.
Wow.
Yeah.
What part?
Baden. It's up in the Dolomites. It's an interesting thing with our US ski pass, the Icon Pass. It allows us to ski the mountains of Switzerland. And it's more than one lift system. I don't know how it works, but it's kind of like in Italy, they have ski lifts on this town and that town, but at the top, they combine and cross over. And you can literally go around mountains and follow passes and ski in a lot of different places.
I never got the skiing gene from my dad. I was telling him the other day that skiing for me was a few trauma points in my childhood. But I do remember being on the slopes with you as a kid and watching you come down and like skiing with people in acrobatic ways and spreading wide and someone going between you. And then
What?
you like, I saw this.
I must have been younger then.
I think a bit. We were both a bit younger then, but I was absolutely blown away that you could even do that. What a fun adventure. I'm just really proud of you. And I really want to, take this opportunity to thank you. And, you really are the love of my life. And your mom, Tish, is the one who my book is dedicated to. She was just sort of the grandma that was around growing up. Like she was right in town. She lived nearby. I'd pop by whenever I wanted. She was the one who would give me the Cocoa Puffs when neither of my parents would. And and just very young introduced me to astrology and tea leaf reading and phrenology with the brains and palm reading. And she just talked about it and introduced me to these things, which sort of captivated me and I think opened me up to that piece of the world very, very early. And it never left me, but it left my front life until really he died and ripped it all open.
People don't get that introduction early and they're stuck in being
focused and siloed.
Yeah. They won't leave town. They won't leave parents. They won't leave their church. They won't think about anything other than what was.
Yeah.
But being introduced to the alternates and possibilities, and if you're receptive to them, it's fun.
I do live in the possibilities. That's the way I like to look at it. Is I've not been a cup half empty, cup half full, but cup overfloweth kind of girl. And so you get a bigger cup, it's just going to pour out, And so that possibilities piece, it's that optimism of, even when I was living in the worst of moments, I just knew that that's not where I'd stay because it was just likely something I had to learn something from to get to where the good stuff was because the possibilities are endless. And I sure am not going to stay where it's not good. I don't want to stay where it feels like shit. So learning how to look at that and find the possibilities in it to move to something else has always been something that kept me going. And it absolutely came from grandma and you and, certainly in mom and then got me through all of that and ended up in this book. It really did. It really translates all of that in funny little quirky, whimsical ways about just knowing that our good stuff's in us and how we're going to find it and live it like at the top of a Swiss mountain.
In some ways, you're like those really good songwriters. You write really, really well in a picturesque way and using words that you sometimes are surprising in their clarity, a single way of doing it. So you're a really good writer too. I think you are.
Wow, thanks. Some people have told me that reading it, some friends, that it sounds like I'm sitting on the couch next to them. They hear it in my voice. It's like, it just sounds like you're talking next to me. And so I take that as a compliment. And for those who don't know my voice or my character, hopefully they'll get to know it here.
Now we do.
Now we do. Dad just mentioned something about being a
caretaker for the Temple of Nine Gates.
Caretaker for the Temple of Nine Gates?
Yeah, I was a dentist for 30 years. So according to the Bible, the body is our temple. And I have been privileged with cleanup and taking care of the mouth. The temple, there's 9 gates in our temple.
Okay.
So
as the body.
As the body, yeah. You have 2 eyes, 2 ears. Those 2, you can shut your eyes off, but you can't shut your ears off. Another one is the nose, and that's actually 2.
Okay.
And then you got 2 little holes at the bottom.
Okay. So
well, that's not my area.
2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah. That's a little lower than you were. Good.
Yeah, out of my. But they all connected, and certainly the mouth to the anus is certainly connected, and all of that is your digestive thing. So the mouth is the beginning of this tube that goes through the temple. And my job is to keep it clean and inform people of what can be done better. And to make up for your mistakes. And at that point, that's my realm. That's my domain.
I've never heard that.
Really,
No, where does that come from? Is that a medical school thing or like a spiritual?
it's from the Bible. Somebody said that somebody, I don't know, Jesus or one of those
Really?
people. This is the temple.
Yeah, that
Temple is.
sure.
This is my walking vehicle. This is all I get. This is all I get. I can travel the world, but I'm limited to this temple. Another one of the gates. It's not really a gate, but it's a sensation. Is skin.
Mhm.
And we are blessed, particularly men, with these little protective shells outside of our skin
Little hair.
and hairs. So if you're sensitive to, if you're an awareness person, if you're aware of your environment, including your breathing and your sight and your hearing, and the mosquito that's landing on one hair, if you tickle it, one hair will tell you.
Yeah.
So be aware.
Yeah.
This is the temple that goes a little above my
At the top of the mountain.
yeah, but that is one of the senses. And in this temple, there's 9 gates.
Wow. Eyes, ears, nose, mouth, bottom 2, both ends.
Does that count up to 9?
Yeah. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. And then you've got skin,
Yeah, that's
which is its own
sensation.
and that being aware is all about being present, right? Understanding and connecting to your body and connecting to that inner piece that we often flush out in the day-to-day of life and just go, 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 go. We don't pause enough to even know there's a mosquito on us, right?
Yeah.
Wow, Dad, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And so that's been like a foundational belief that's kind of given value beyond just being a dentist, like a deeper meaning.
It gives you purpose, sure. I mean, if you don't look at it that way, then all you're doing is filling up holes.
Plaster and
Things look pretty again, but as a temple portal, something that the only one that walks all the way through, starts here, goes out at the end as trash. The rest of it, eyes you intake, you can close them. Ears, you can't close your ears. I don't know. You shut your mouth.
You could shut your mind off, but not your ear. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a mental focus, the awareness of what you've got going for you. And you don't have to concentrate on a hair, but you do have to be calm enough to feel that mosquito.
I love that. I'm going to be thinking about that for a while.
And don't forget to brush your teeth.
Well, on that note, I think that's the perfect capture for that one.
Okay. Goodbye. See you again next time.
Thanks, Dad. That was awesome.